This is the Tammi Reiss Show on the Rhody Sports Network from Learfield. Tonight's show is brought to you by People's Credit Union, the official credit union of URI Women's Athletics. New England Laborers, Liuna, Feel the Care. Pizza Gourmet, Rhode Island's Wood Grilled Pizza Crust, is a proud sponsor of URI Athletics. Haxton Liquors, where we buy the most so you pay the least. Newport Propane, Rhode Island's #1 choice for all your propane needs. Orthopedics Rhode Island, the official orthopedic and sports medicine provider for URI Athletics. Dave's Fresh Marketplace, better food, better service. Now, here's your host, Zach Austin.
Welcome to the Tammi Reiss Coaches Show here at the Mews Tavern. Coaches Show is presented by People's Credit Union live on the Rhody Sports Network. We want to thank People's Credit Union, the official partner of URI Women's Athletics, and the New England Laborers, who are training today's workforce to build tomorrow's communities. With cutting-edge facilities in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut, you will gain the classroom and job site knowledge and experience needed for a rewarding career in construction. Great crowd here at the Mews Tavern once again. Woo! I think George McAuliffe's going to have to build a third floor at the Mews. There's so many people here right now. This is awesome, and for good reason. And we'll welcome in the head coach for the Rhody Rams of the show, Tammi Reiss. And, Coach, another great week in the books. Win streak is now at 16 in a row. That has never been done in program history. 13-0 to begin conference play in the Atlantic 10 also has never happened in program history. And a few other notes as well. Best Atlantic 10 start, second with 5 games left in the regular season, by the way. Second most wins all time, home, road, and Atlantic 10. Still lots of work to do, but already so much accomplished this year. Just to open the show, and you kind of teased a little bit in your press conference yesterday, but you know, how's the day of practice been? How's the preparation for George Mason started this morning in practice?
Well, first of all, we'd like to thank the Mews Tavern. We love it here. This is like our official home base, so we love to do our coaches show, so thank you so much. And then again, look at this place. It is packed with our loyal fans. And again, thank you for coming out last night and just supporting our team all the time. It means the world to us and our players. But preparation started last night after the game. We start scout, obviously. It's Coach Fay's scout. We start scout. And then this morning, this afternoon, we did all our film work, personnel, so the girls know a little bit about their team. And then we did a complete walkthrough where we're saving their legs. So we do all their plays. We walk through them. We break down all our coverages. And then tomorrow we'll have a live practice where we go off of transition defense, rebounding, a little bit of our offensive execution, what sets we're running, how they're going to guard us, obviously full throttle against their plays, how we're going to guard them, and then miscellaneous things like what slobs, sideline out of bounds, and what blobs, baseline out of bounds. We're going to run all our packages and just be ready, because when we go down, we have a 3 o'clock tip. We won't have a shoot around. We'll do a walkthrough in our meal room, and then we'll go straight to the game to play. So really good. The girls were locked in this morning, really attentive, vocal, and that's all we needed them was a mental day today and really just a prep day. But it was a great day of preparation.
You mentioned in that press conference that you try to stay away from too rigid of a routine, try not to wear the team out. You mentioned a highlight video. Where does that kind of factor into the routine from starting last night to now?
Well, we'll find our spot where we're going to show it to them and break the ice a little bit. But, again, it's kind of throwing something different at them, getting them. Zach, you just ruined the surprise.
Uh-oh.
Where are they? Oh, they are not listening anyway.
That's all right. We'll pretend it didn't happen.
And you didn't say it in French, so they have no idea what we kind of come up with some new things to kind of keep it fresh and keep it new and again, keep them happy and jubilant. But, they do their own things, too. They'll have a Valentine's Day. I think they all ordered, pajamas, and they're going to do a special thing as a team. But, you have a really good connected team when they do their own thing and they keep it fresh and they keep it happy, and they love to spend time together. So that's our focus as a coaching staff, and it's also a focus as our team goes on, is we're going to enjoy these last 5 games of the regular season and the time we have, and then we're going to enjoy the postseason. And so I tell them every day is a cherished day. You can't look too far ahead. You got to live in the present. You got to enjoy what's happening and really cherish these moments, because they'll be gone before you know it.
I love that, and the fact that the preparation for this game specifically began after the game last night. It did not begin before that. You didn't overlook St. Louis or VCU, and it showed from start to finish in that game. Just domination from your group. They were locked in. They were ready to play. How are you able to keep this team? How are they able to motivate themselves to look at the moment, look at one game at a time, while having fun and while staying loose at this point in the season, especially?
Again, we get creative as a coaching staff, but they knew when we played VCU the other day. I had the film down, the screen down when we show our scout, and I had a lot of things written on the board. And when I took the board up, I wanted them to be reminded of why they're number 1 in the A10, and statistically in the A10, where we're ranked and how we got to where we are right now. And statistically, we were ranked number 1 in about 6 categories, a lot of defensive categories, turnover margin, a lot of them. And then offensively, we were ranked in number 2 behind Richmond in another 5 or 6 categories. So, and they had no idea. They saw it and they went, oh my God, we didn't know this. We didn't. So this has been our journey. This is why we're successful. And so we relived the VCU game, the first one, on how we didn't execute anything. We weren't urgent. We had no discipline. We had no pace. And we refocused them that this is how we're playing today. So when we go up 10, we go up 20. 20 goes to 30, 30 goes to 40, and we knock them out. And they shot out of a cannon to start the game. I mean, I've never seen them more focused on both ends of the floor. It was like the engine was roaring, and we just took off. And we punched VCU so hard they couldn't recover. They had no idea what hit them. And so they regrouped. They focused on that. And our past 2 games have been like that. Even though we didn't come out of a cannon against St. Louis, eventually we found that. And we did. We put our foot on their necks, and we just kept crushing. And so that's what I think we could have done all along to a lot of teams. And then yesterday you jumped 2 points in the net because you have a win by 40. If you win by 40 every night, or the good teams you win by 15 or 16 like you should, you'd be at a 40 in the net. You wouldn't be scrambling for a point here or there. And they understood the purpose yesterday. They understood our goal, and they did what we needed to do, and then they jumped 2 points in the net. I think we jumped to a 45 today. So that's key, but it's all them. They really were focused yesterday.
Wins by 31, and then you followed up by 43. The first meeting against VCU was season low in points, 46. Your team surpassed that point by halftime in this game. It was the most points scored against a Division I team this year, just to show how much changed in a month's time. And another thing that I thought really stood out from your post game was you mentioned something that changed this year is the players are kind of leading the charge. It's not just you and your staff, and the teams where the players lead tend to be the most successful. When it comes to your group this season, what does it mean to be led by the players?
We've been waiting for that. We had a team in 22-23 when Cece Lassiter was here, Emma was here. We had great senior leadership. They were player-led. Poor teams, no one leads. You lose, you're not very good. Good teams, coaches lead. And then great teams, players lead. So it's no coincidence that in 2023 we had a player-led team. Emma, we just had great senior leadership. This year, not only do we have great senior leadership in Ines and some of the other kids that came in, but everyone leads. But it's not the leadership, it's that everyone else follows. And so they are all on the same page, and they hold each other accountable. Everything you want from a team. And that's why we're winning, is we have great leadership. We have people that hold each other accountable, that accept it. Everyone follows, whether you play 0 minutes, you start and you take all the shots. It is the we over the me. And they hold that locker room true. You don't have kids in that locker room. You don't have parents, that are disrupting, your team chemistry. They have a goal in mind, and that's what they do, and that's what great leadership teams do, and that's a testament to our players. And all of them do it. They lead, and then we have followers. So we don't have anyone rowing the opposite way. That puts the me before the we. We do not this year. And so, again, that's a testament to the team. And they've taken that identity from us. And now as coaches, you just can sit back and coach basketball. You can coach X and O. So give the credit 100% to our team.
I imagine that makes your job a lot easier, and it's produced really good results this year as well. And you talk about the pieces throughout the year that have come in with playoff experience like Brooklyn Gray, but then you take some of the returners like Ines and Palmire as well, who are both here tonight, and they'll be joining us on the show later on as well. Ines was part of your team that you talked about in 22-23 as a freshman. Now has been a captain 3 times, all over the place in the leaderboards, and we'll talk about that later in the show as well. But having her been a part of that team, a regular season title team, and now being in this leadership role as a senior, as one of the leaders that you talk about on this team, how does that experience in this program having success help with this year's group?
In order to be successful, you have to retain your core. We were able to retain, Palmire, Albina, Sophie V, Ines, MK, Eva. Our culture stayed intact, and then we could go get pieces that could join us. But if you don't have your culture intact and you don't have players that know how we do things here, and again, Ines has been here since day one. She's been here 4 years, and it's been a journey for her. Her growth has been absolutely incredible, where she first started. And the thing I love most about Ines, kind of held her back initially, I think the most, but I love her passion. I love her fire. I love her compete. I love her stubbornness. I love everything about that. And so when she first got here, she had to learn. She had to learn a lot. She had to learn English. She had to learn our system. She had to learn a lot, but she also had to learn how to control that emotion. She's a lot like me when I was a player. I had to learn how to control that where it didn't become detrimental. So as she's grown, she's learned how to control that and bottle it in a positive way. But more importantly, she's learned how to put the team in front of her and how to lead. And it's been such a rewarding journey to watch her growth, not just as a basketball player, but as a leader. And now when I used to have to scold her and yell at her and she would pout and she'd come off, and I still do it, but now she looks at me and she goes, "Coach, I got you." And it's almost like, and I tell you, I loved coaching Say because Say was so grown, she could take it, and she knew, and she'd just go, "Coach, I got you. We're good." And Nez is in that position now, so it's almost like we're equals. She understands me, I understand her, and I trust her unequivocally on the floor now. I do, and so I've never been prouder of a player, and also of her loyalty of staying here for 4 years. You do not find that anymore. And, she deserves all the credit in the world because she didn't just up and pack her bags and jet. She saw this through from beginning to end, and it's one of the reasons we are so successful. And again, we owe a lot of our program success to Ines.
No question about it. And you've talked about how alike you two are, throughout the course of the season and throughout the course of her career. And I will ask this question twice tonight, but I'll ask you first. If you were in your playing days and you had a one-on-one with Ines, who would win?
I don't know. We kill each other. It happened with Dawn and I. We ended up in a fist fight. We ended up in a wrestling match because it got so heated. All our practices at Virginia, by the time we were seniors, Debbie would have to call it because it got so competitive. No one wanted to end on a loss. And if you gave it to someone and you started talking and jawing, next thing you know, it ended up in a little bit of a physical confrontation. But that's what competition is, and we got after it. So she is, it's like looking in the mirror. She wouldn't back down. Her and Say got in a bunch of them her freshman year. She did not back down to Say. And Say kind of gave it to her and she would give it right back. Sophie V and her have the same thing sometimes when they're on opposite teams. And it's a beautiful thing to watch because it's elevated both their games. It's taken them to a new level. But I'd say, it probably no one would win. It'd end up in a fist fight, and we'd both walk off pissed at each other. And, we'd have to apologize the next day.
That's what makes, these great teams so great, and that's what makes this team so great as well. Palmire's here as well, second year with the program, came over after playing overseas. You talked about her dealing with some injuries, trying to find her groove, and has she found her groove this year? It's just so much improved across the board, and you saw the work she put in this offseason. What has made her such a special player this year?
I don't think people understood. We tried to get Palmire when I think Inez's year to come over, and she wanted to play pro, and she didn't want to come over. And 2 years later, she finally decides, okay, I want to come over now. And we, I give it to our compliance office. They had to fight tooth and nail. The NCAA only originally wanted to give her 1 year. And we were like, no, and they fought, so they got 2 years for Palm. And we knew we needed to because Palmer was coming off a really, really bad ankle injury. She hadn't played in, I think it was almost a year and a half. And so she didn't have her conditioning. So when she was coming in for us as a freshman, really, she had not played in a very long time. So we knew we had to be patient. She had to get, number one, confidence in the ankle again and in the foot, and be able to play. Number two, get her playing legs under her. She was not in game shape. She had to shake all that rust off. So that first year, by the end of the year, I think you saw Palmer getting a lot more minutes in the A-10 tournament, starting to really come on. We knew what Palmer was going to be. No one knew what she looked like when she was healthy and a pro. We knew it all along. And so the work she put in, she went home, she changed her body, she finally got healthy, and we knew what we had. When she came back, that's the Palmire that we anticipated that was going to come. And so it was no surprise to us, but to many, especially people in the A-10, they're like, oh, my God. They said the same thing about Maya, and we're like, yeah, they can really play. She just had been hurt for a while. So she's finally come into her own. And I think the biggest thing is for her was gaining that confidence back of, I'm a great player, and I know it. And also gaining the confidence in the coaching staff knowing she's a great player, where I think last year she kind of battled that a little bit. Do you trust me? Do you trust me to shoot a three right now because I'm not shooting well? Do you? And I think unequivocally now she knows. She knows she's a great player. She's confident. And then she knows our whole coaching staff, our fan base, everyone trusts her when the ball's in her hands. And so that's been her rise. We knew it was coming. It just was a matter of when it all got put together.
And all the pieces really have just come together, and it feels like this team is just hitting their stride now. And it's funny you touched on, you had Maya kind of come out of nowhere. Now Palmire and the other coaches in the A-10 are probably like, where do they keep coming from? But that's a credit to you and Coach A and the staff for recruiting such great players over the years, and the French connection, of course, since day one when you took over. We're here with Tammi Reiss, the head coach for Rhody women's basketball, and another thing that you've touched on, not just last night after the game, but throughout your time at Rhode Island, and this is, I'm sure not an easy thing, but as a coach, the lessons that you learn over time and the adjustments that you make season to season, it's easy to talk about a player and how they improve, but you and as your staff have been just excellent in evaluating and seeing where the program can grow and improve, and you've been very open about that. How important is that as a coach to be able to self-reflect year after year, look, and as we've seen this year, the differences are paying off?
We say this to our players all the time, is you have to be coachable. You have to understand how to grow. You've got to listen. You've got to be uncomfortable to grow. And the biggest thing I was taught at a very young age is, you have to be very realistic and honest with yourself. And you got to evaluate after everything you do. I did it as a player. I do it in anything I try to be great at. Is every year when I sit down and we look at it as a staff, last year especially, was what could we do better? And not just our players, we give them what they need to improve on and what they should work on, but us. How can we get better? And the big thing, number one, we had a brand new staff. Sometimes the cohesion and the continuity takes a year. You're trying to dynamic roles and power struggles and, adjustments. It's hard for a staff. That was number one, is we had to all get on the same page and grow together and really be locked in. And the team knows we're locked in together now as a coaching staff. Number two is, as a head coach, how I speak to them, how we were just so tight last year. Everything was a grind. Everything was, if not negative, it just wasn't fun, and you can be hard on them, but you can still have fun. You can hold them accountable, but you still got to let them enjoy things. And so we had to grow in that, where it's not all grind. It can't be. We've got to have a great balance of both. And then lastly is how we peak them. Cutting practice. Ask them a little bit more questions. How do you want to guard this? What are you guys comfortable with? What do you want practices like? You want it more competitive? Do you want them shorter? Do we have to save your legs? And so getting them to peak at the end, where we used to grind them so hard that I think we went towards the A10, we never peaked. And that's on us. That's not on them. And so making those adjustments where we can get better for them, I think is key. Better communication, in real time. Those are all the things we talk about as a staff. Changing our offense. What are we going to recruit? I told you this. I cannot watch a team score 45 points anymore. Hey, I love defense and rebounding too, but you got to be able to pass, dribble, and shoot. Everyone wants to look at offense. And I said, we're good enough coaches to scheme defensively. We'll change coverages. We can go zone. We can do some things. But we got to go get offense. And we got to go get some kids that are connectors, that will bring something different, a passion, a joy, a little bit of swag. And all those changes, we threw it in and we mixed it up. Sometimes it takes a little luck and you go, ooh, I pray this works. But it worked. And we recruited offense, but we're the number one defensive team. But it all came down to getting kids that bought into our program and retaining kids and just building better relationships and getting on the same page. And so it's been a complete change of coaches, players, and everyone coming together and all of us getting on the same page. And listen, all of us put the we before the me, even our coaches. No one's bigger than our program. You got managers over here. We got two of our top managers, Kelly and Corey, that have been with us for years, our practice guys. Everyone in our program matters, and they all play a pivotal role in everything we do. And if you ask them, if you brought Kelly and Corey up here, I hope they would say, I feel a part of this program. I'm a really important part, and that's when magic happens. And that's, I think, what makes this whole culture so special. Not just then, and then you look out here, and you got some really, really special fans. That's when magic happens. It's when energy starts and when the vibe changes and it becomes a snowball. And that's what's happened this year. And sometimes you can't explain it, but when you get the right people on board and they're really good people, and we have those, that's when magic happens, and that's what we've got this year.
No question. It's night and day, and that magic, you can tell, at games. On a lot of people here tonight, are part of that environment at the Ryan Center. We've seen it the last 3 games, and a great tradition this year is the high five line all around the arena. I don't know how many other places you'd see something like that. It's just incredible. The culture that continues to grow every year, and especially now.
Oh, it's funny. When women's basketball grassroots was coming up, we had to fight for everything. But I remember my first season in the WNBA. Everything was for the fans because we needed fans to come support us. So after every game, and listen, the lines would be long, but I'd stay, and security would get so upset with me. But I said, I'm never turning a fan away. If I have to stay here for 5 hours and sign every autograph, I will, and then they feel like they have a relationship with you, and they keep coming. And everyone in the WNBA was like that. We are a fan-based. Women's basketball, it's fan-based. If we don't have them, we don't have a league. And so even Unrivaled, the social media, you see all the fans with the buckets, and they follow all the girls, and the girls follow them back. You don't always see that in men's basketball because they don't have to. They're like, I'm not staying here and signing. I'm not doing this. Women's basketball, you have to appreciate your fans. And so when I said, ladies, are we gonna go? And the ladies were like, yeah, we're going to go around. We're going to high-five everyone. We'll do autographs every day, coach, whatever you want. And, again, it's about the people in your organization. And so you got to when people come out, they spend money and they take time, 2.5, 3 hours of their night to come support you, the least you can do is give a high five and say thank you, especially to the little kids in the audience. And so that, again, that's our group. That's just what they do. And so I'm really, really proud of that. I'm really, really proud of who they are as women. So
Amazing stuff. And not to address the elephant in the room too much, and there's already been so much discussion, so we don't have to retread, but there is one part of the Ryan Center, there is a bit more bare. My first question is, have you heard from any local hot dog vendors back after last night? And second, whether it is a student or anyone that's considering going to one of these last 2 home games, what's your message? What would you tell them to expect if they were to walk into the Ryan Center?
Okay, I can't drop we got something planned. We've got some things in the work, but I can't give out the secrets. Administration's got some things in the work. Marketing, they're all doing their part to try to generate some butts in the student section. But I got to tell you, the media and everybody calling out the students, it became like this war on Twitter. I got people from everywhere coming at me like, good, bad, ugly, but it's crazy how many people are trolling now. So it's become, I've been really, really busy and had a really good time addressing trolls today on social media. It's all in fun. I don't think it's in fun and jest with some of these guys, but for me, it's all in fun. But really, students, it's their free will to enjoy what they want to enjoy and do what they want to do. The only thing we were saying is, listen, I'll say this always. I didn't love football. Women generally don't watch the Super Bowl for football. Not some women do, but not all women, right? So we watch, if we could throw a good Super Bowl party and have a wine party with our female friends, and we have a good halftime show and the commercials are off the chain, suddenly I never loved football, but I started watching it, and then I fell in love with football, but something else attracted me to the main event. So all we're saying is, I want to know what the students want. Do they want a show? Do they want giveaways? What is it? And you may get 200-300 students come, and suddenly they go, hey, wait a minute, I like men's basketball, or I like football, or I like women's basketball. And so all we were saying is, I think the media was saying is, you don't have to love the product, but how can we, from a marketing standpoint, fill those seats? And you don't have to love women's basketball to come to a game if it's a good enough vibe. And so you got to be a little P.T. Barnum. You got to be a little creative. What can we do to get some butts to then turn them on? How many people do you know that go to something that didn't like it and suddenly have season tickets? What happened? So sometimes you just got to get them there and it wasn't a bash against our students. Our students, listen, they some of them work, they have studies, but in general, it's been very difficult. Even at football games, we have thousands of students. There should be more students at football games. They're not. Baseball, softball, volleyball, they're not. Basketball. And so in general, what do we have to do to get them to come out? That's the question. And it's not just the sport. It's the entertainment value around the sport. And so that's all we were saying last night. And I'll do anything I can possibly do. If I could buy them beers, I'd do it. If we could have a free hot dog, I'd do it. Whatever it is, I want them to have a good time. And I want school pride and school spirit. And I think with technology, this takes away from the ability where we used to just go and enjoy each other. That was the entertainment. Me and 20 girls in college, and we go to a football game, and we had a blast. We tailgated. We did this post-party after the game. And now they run to their rooms, and they get on social media for 3 hours, or that's their entertainment, where we've lost that social component. And so it gets harder and harder every year to get people out and to really enjoy that. You see all the old people, us, tailgating. We still enjoy that. Why? Because we're not buried in this. So we just got to figure out a way to get the students in. We weren't bashing the students. Listen, we weren't doing we love our URI students. But how can we get them involved? And how can we get that Rhody spirit going? Really. And listen, if I could buy up top, I owned a nightclub. For 10 years, I owned a Manhattan club. And Crystal knows this. I worked till 4 in the morning, and owning a dance club with liquor in Salt Lake City with Mormon City was the hardest business I've ever owned. If we can get people out there, we can get people here. So, if I could, I would buy up top. I'd open the best sports bar restaurant you've ever seen in your life, and we'd have a place to party pregame and postgame. But those are the things that's what marketing is. They've got to figure all that stuff out. We were just having some fun with the students to come on out and try to get a little bit more Rhody spirit.
Very well said. As we wrap up here with Tammi Reiss, who is also a part-time Twitter troll, as we learned the last few hours. Before we wrap up this part of the show, of course, looking ahead, George Mason, big game. Another team in the top 3 of the A-10 this Saturday on the road at 3. Looking ahead, next home game will be a week from Saturday, the 21st, the Play for K game. The senior game, of course, another opportunity at the Ryan Center. Just your final thoughts looking ahead as we wrap up this half of the show.
As always, we take it one game at a time. And listen, George Mason is an excellent team. They're an excellent defensive team. They cause chaos. And so they turn people over about 20 turnovers a game. They average 14. So, our team knows, I'll give you the lowdown on the scouting report. Number one, you got to take care of the basketball against them. You cannot turn the ball over. It leads to fast break points for them. We're going to have to get shots. So, number one, take care of the ball. Number two, attack mode. They do a lot of fake ball pressure. They try to steal everything. They jump passing lanes. So you got to make them pay for that. You got to attack and get to the free throw line. Number two, you got to defend the three-point line. You got to make them take tough twos. You cannot give them both. And they shoot the three ball at a 34% clip. So three or four of them can really shoot it. So you got to defend the three. And then lastly, you got to own the rebounding war on the road and defend that paint. So those 3 things are the keys of the games. If we do what we do and we do it well, we should be victorious. But going on the road, and again, they are a great team. They're well coached, and it's going to be a battle. So 40 minutes of discipline, toughness, okay, and energy with urgency, those 3 things.
Excellent. And what another fun show we have at the Mews Tavern. Great crowd. Rhody Nation really showing out for that one. Be sure to tune in on Saturday.
And lastly, really special, on February 21st, we're trying to pack that Ryan Center to give these seniors the proper send-off that they deserve. This team deserves it. So if you can bring a friend, if you can tell a friend, don't worry, administration, we're trying to get students and athletes there, but we really want to pack the Ryan Center and try to get over 5,000 people in that house for senior day. So go Rhody and try to bring a few people, a few friends, and let's pack it and give those seniors a really proper send-off.
Rhody Nation, you heard her. That's Tammi Reiss, the head coach for Rhody women's basketball. Thanks, as always, for giving us a great show today. We'll step aside. We'll come back. We'll be joined by Ines Debroise and Palmire Mbu after this. This is the Tammi Reiss Coaches Show presented by People's Credit Union live on the Rhody Sports Network. Welcome back to the Mews Tavern for the Tammi Reiss Coaching Show, of course, powered by the Mews Tavern. Thanks to George McCullough for all he's done tonight. He's helped keep this place insulated. We got the windows open. It's nice and cool in here, and we're ready to continue this amazing show. We also want to thank some of our amazing partners. Newport Propane is Rhode Island's #1 choice for all your propane needs. Family owned and operated since 1959. Newport Propane will treat you like part of the family. Visit them at newportpropane.com. And the Pizza Gourmet, Rhode Island's Wood Grilled Pizza Crust, is a proud sponsor of URI Athletics. Order online today at woodgrilledcrust.com. That's woodgrilledcrust.com. I'm now joined to my right by 2 seniors on the Rhody women's basketball team, 2 members as well of the French Connection, Ines Debroise and Palmire Mbu. Thanks for being here on the show. Great win again last night. That's number 16 in a row for your team. And being here at the Mews, some good eats here as well. I got to ask, how was the meal tonight? Did you order your favorite thing on the menu? Who wants to go?
We just started, but it was great so far.
What did you guys order?
We got the burger and french fries. We took the same thing.
A little bit of a cheat day. That's all right. Again, 16 wins in a row, and you heard Coach Reiss just talk about the leadership from your team has been incredible. And it's been a long journey for both of you guys. And Ines, I'll start with you. The longest tenured player in the team. You've also played more games with URI than anyone else ever to put on a Keaney Blue jersey. 120 games and counting. You're the winningest player in program history. I think 86 wins and counting there as well. 376 assists is second most all time, only behind the great Dana Smith. We'll get to those accomplishments in a second, but I wanted to go back to the beginning. When you first started basketball, coming over from France, what made you fall in love with the sport, and when did you start with basketball?
So at first I didn't want to play basketball at all.
I wanted nothing to do with basketball. That was my first thing about it, because my parents both play basketball. So it was like all my weekend was like in the gym, basketball Monday through Sunday. So I was like, I don't want to play basketball. So I did track, I did ballet, I did judo, I did a lot of sport, but I finally find my way back to basketball. And I started like playing with guys. And after everything went to different clubs and INSEB, where we were with Palmire, and after I took the decision to come to the U.S.
I was going to ask you guys, not only have you been teammates now the last 2 years at Rhode Island, you've played together and known each other a lot longer than that. How long have you guys known each other for? Long before, of course, you came to Rhode Island.
7,
8. Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe 8, yes.
We're starting a new trend tonight, everybody.
I would say like 7 years.
Yeah.
We were in high school together. We spent 3 years in high school together. I feel like we knew each other before, because we played against each other when we were younger, but we started getting really close when we were in high school.
That's awesome. And Palmire, I want to start with you and your basketball journey. When did you first get involved with the sport?
Same. At first, I started to do dance. I stopped, I think, a few months after. And then my two brothers were already playing basketball. So I just wanted to do the same. And that's how I started and never stopped since then.
And I know your family had the opportunity to visit recently, which is really cool to see, coming over from France to watch the latest few games of this giant win streak. Of course, you guys are also part of the French Connection at Rhode Island, which is the only team in the country with more French players than American-born players. And, of course, getting recruited by Coach A. What was that recruitment process like for you both? And I'll go back to you, Palmire. I know you played professionally before you came over, so what was that transition like?
So, the first time Coach A contacted me, it was after, I think I just graduated high school, and I just didn't feel like coming to the US at this point, and I was like, I'm already studying in France and playing, so I was fine like that. And then after I played a few years and I had an injury, and I was like, maybe I want to try to experience that. So I decided to contact him again, and that's how I came here. And I already knew like a lot of girls that were in Rhode Island, like Maye, Ines, so it was like I was feeling comfortable going in this place because I knew like the coaching staff and the environment was nice too.
Yeah, home away from home of sorts. And for you, Ines, different story. Longest tenured player on the team. When did your journey just start, and what was your first call from Coach Reiss and Coach A like?
So Coach A contacted one of my old coach, and after my parents, after my national team, I think it was after my U16 national team with the French team. And during the process, I started also like talking with Coach Tammi, which we need to know that I was not speaking English, so we spent like 2 minutes on the phone, but it felt like 30 minutes for me. And after I really decided to like accept and want, like, just by having a great relationship with both of them, like I decided to come to the US, come to Rhode Island, but because of English, because I was not able to speak English for another time, I took like over like a year and a half to get my English test. So it took me, like I came a year later, but I finally, after a year and a half, got this exam and got here.
You're a pro now at it, no question. I think this is your third time on the Coaches Show as well, and it's great to have you back. I think you're the most common guest we've had as a player since the show started, which is really cool. I want to ask you too as well about, obviously when this first started back when Coach Reiss took over and Coach A in 2019, a lot of recruitment, from the staff. Now that, you all know each other so well, even before coming to Rhody, is there kind of a recruitment process from you guys convincing your friends back in France, hey, you should come play here? Is there any of that now that this has been going on for a little bit?
I would not say we're part of the recruiting, but obviously I think when Coach A is trying to like contact new girls to come, and like sometimes they have questions and they can ask us questions, but we're not recruiting French girls back home.
Yeah, let's leave that to him. That's your job.
I agree. Yeah, I would say like because we were so close with Palmire, like when I knew that Coach wanted to, with the staff wanted to recruit Palmire, I of course like had some discussion with her about how was the culture here, how was everything, how was like our daily life. So of course like we talked about it, and I was like kind of pushing it, but the coaching staff is the one who's doing the biggest job.
No question about it. We're here with Ines Debroise and Palmire Mbu. And Ines, you also have been a captain for 3 years. You were first named as a sophomore, which is a great accomplishment in and of itself. You're also the only remaining player in the team left from the 22-23 regular season title team. You know, being in that leadership role, having experienced that success before, how does that help you when it comes to your leadership and your role on this year's team?
I definitely think that it's much easier to lead when you know like what your coaching staff and your head coach like expect from you. So I think like after like my third year, like just having like a biggest relationship with Coach Tammi and also like the coaching staff just helping me to grow in my leadership skills, but also like with the girls, like just knowing like what the culture looks like and knowing what I'm talking about when I'm talking with them was just much easier.
And for you, Palmire, we talked about it a little bit in the last segment as well, but your play, you know, from last year to now is just night and day. You've gotten so much better. You've put in a lot of work in the off season. You know, from your perspective, what has that process been like from where you were when you got to Rhody to now? You know, where has that confidence come from?
I think, like Coach said, coming from an injury wasn't easy. Also, like adapting to a new environment and a new culture here in Rhode Island. But just like knowing that I've worked, like you said, off season and during the season, and knowing that the coaching staff believe in me and they gave me a new role this season, and also all the confidence that I got from my teammates, it's like way easier to play and also like play through mistakes and get better every week. So
yeah, and this year especially, you've got so many great personalities on the team. Of course, you both coming back from being on the team last year, and then, you know, Brooklyn Gray comes aboard and Tavi, and they just bring, you know, such a personality to the locker room. How has that allowed you guys to kind of play freely, be more loose, and maybe have a little more fun this year?
I mean, I love that. I mean, I'm more like, I don't show a lot of emotion on the court, but I just love like when I score like big basket and I see Brooklyn is like yelling and the bench is like so happy. Like it's just so much better to like play and feel like everybody is happy about each other and like not just focus on themselves. Like it just feels great.
Yeah, I'm agree. Like I'm agree with Palmire. I think like we have everything like in our team. Like we have people who are more like extra. Some people are more like, no, I wouldn't say shy, but I think it's like a big puzzle, and all the little pieces like are able like to like pull each other like in a certain way. So I think that's what is great in this team.
Yeah, there's so much balance, and you guys mesh so well together on the court. It looked like this exact team has been together for 4 years. You wouldn't know it, that it's really all come together this year. Ines, I'll go back to you, and I kind of teased this in the last segment, but I have to ask, if you were to go one-on-one with Coach Reiss back when she was in her playing days and you now, who do you think would win?
I think like she's right about what she said. I think we would like fight, and like it will be like, okay, the first 2-3 like wins, but I think like we will go like back and forth, like, no, you got this and we're gonna go back to this and we're just gonna finish like to a big fight, and maybe one of the other coach will be like, okay, we're done now and we gotta go home.
And you're not just agreeing with coach to avoid laps or anything like that, you actually okay. I gotta ask, and I always ask whether it's a post player or whether we have, you know, members of the French Connection on the show. You know, Coach A obviously has played such an instrumental role of getting you to Rhode Island and helping you get to where you want to be as a player. I got to ask, do you have any Coach A stories that stand out, anything funny, anything that's been really meaningful to you in your time with the team?
Wow.
The stress that's took over. You can feel it.
I don't know. I would say like if he's really mad at us, he's gonna speak to us in French.
Yeah, that's when you know he's really mad.
We're here with Ines Debroise and Palmire Mbu. I wanted to go to you, Palmire. I know you do a lot of work outside of basketball with photography and with film, and you've put together some really cool pieces on other athletes at Rhode Island, which has been really fun to see. Just talk about that, how you got into that, and what got you into photography as well.
It was something I was already interested in, and like being in Rhode Island, it's also like something I wanted to do. I wanted to come for basketball, being a G1 player for sure, but also like the whole package and being able to study and having internship, working with like Michaela and Grace, having so fun. So it's just like something I like, and I love that I'm able to do basketball, but I'm also able to like learn so many things around for school and for work. So that's great.
That's awesome, and I saw that you also were at the NBA Finals last year. You had a chance to be there. That's really cool. What did you like about that experience?
I mean, just the complete. It was just like amazing basketball. The atmosphere in the gym is just like, I think if you love basketball, it's just like what you want to see. So it was amazing experience.
It was a great series as well. Went to 7 games. I'm sure Tyler wasn't as happy as you were. Probably.
I know. I know. He wasn't. Yeah.
Tyler, our video coordinator from Indiana. You can probably guess who he was rooting for in that game. Ines, I'll go back to you. And outside of basketball, I believe you do a little bit of cooking. And I know you both are big in the French cuisine. I got to ask what your favorite meal to cook is from your home country.
I don't know if I can cook like from my own country, but I would say like a go-to meal. I like to cook salmon with rice and vegetable or chicken curry.
Nice. That sounds very good. Okay. George might have to add that to the menu after the show. You make up for the cheat day a little bit. We're here with Ines and Palmire, and I know, Ines, you've talked about this before, the evolution of women's sports in France. It's not something that's always been pushed as much, but now, especially seeing what you guys have done here and internationally as well with the national teams over there, how have you seen women's sports and women's basketball evolve in France?
To be honest, because I've been here like for 4 years, like I would say like I really also like focus on my process here, like see how women's basketball was here in the US. But I would say like in France, like it's getting bigger. I think we still need to do a lot like about like if we talk about salary or like the fans or like the infrastructure, like a lot of things need to get better like overseas. I mean, back to France for us to just like put us like in great condition to compete, because I really feel like here, like I think we almost like treated as the same as the men, like just like having people like washing our laundry, like chartering, like having a charter. Like I don't know if I'm gonna have a charter when I'm gonna play like overseas. We're gonna took like a little car to do like 8 hours drive. So like just like having like all these little things that we can forget like when we spend 4 years, that I think like that's gonna be the biggest like jump needed like back to Europe.
Yeah, very, very good points. And I got to ask, too, the sport itself in basketball and the way it's played is very different from in America and overseas. And I'll go back to Palmire. You played professionally as well. What differences have you noticed in terms of how the game is played here versus in France?
I would say college basketball is very physical. Like we run a lot. Like when I arrived, like coach was like, yes, I was not in shape for sure because I was going back from an injury, but having to run that much, like play at the pace we play was hard. But I would say, like the physical dimension, but also I think here in the US we are more focused on the player development in a way, like people are more skilled, are more like better in one-on-one and stuff, while in France we're more focused, I think, on the team part, like being able to pass the ball, play with each other. So it was very different, but both are great, but it's just great to learn from on both sides.
Absolutely. Do you have is there anything you've noticed in this?
I'm definitely agree, but I would say like a good point, like, and what makes I think like Rhode Island special is that coaches from like Europe, but also like having Coach Tammi like open to like she coached 3-against-3, like she was able like to see what's going on overseas, and having like also like both of like two coaches in your staff like able like to not just focus on like what's going on in the US, but also like able like to see what's going on like in Europe. I think we have a great mix like here in Rhode Island of like, okay, we have player development, but also like teaching us like how to play with each other.
You're exactly right on that. And I think that mix is what helps make this team work as well as it does, because everybody just meshes together so well. As we head towards the end of this segment of the show, I want to go a little bit more rapid fire here, and I want to start. Usually when we have an American player on or non-French members of the team, I like to ask who maybe what French they've learned from you guys and anything they've picked up. I wanted to ask you guys, who do you think has picked up the best French? And if you had to pick one non-French speaking person on the team to teach somebody else, who would you pick?
Albina.
I would say Albina, yeah.
She seems to learn quick, I feel, so that's not a surprise at all. Ines, you've been here for 4 years. This is your second year at Palmire. In terms of memories, whether it's on the basketball court, anything you did as an activity with the team, what are some of your favorite memories you've had here in Rhode
Island? There's a lot, but I would say first, like any moments we get to spend with the team, like I got one. Like when we got stuck in it was in Dayton because of the snow, and we got like to spend the night and like the day after in Dayton. It was just so fun. I mean, it was bad at first when we heard that we got to stay until the 2 days later, but at the end it was a great time.
You almost would forget the bus caught on fire.
Yeah, that's too.
I think a lot of memories, but I would say for this year, I would say like great memories from this summer, because I think everybody see the journey of like what's going on like between November to March, but like we've been working with each other, like we spent the whole summer with each other, like with the coaching staff, but also like with players. So a lot of great memories from this summer. And I would say when we won against NC State, I think like everybody was like so happy. Like it was just like great. Like, and I felt like Coach Tammi was in the body of Coach A, like having Coach A like jumping around and stuff. Like I just felt like it was a great memory.
That's amazing. That one's definitely up there. And that win that you guys had at NC State may have been, in the regular season, one of the best wins that we've seen in program history, and that's a credit to you guys and what you've done this year. I also wanted to ask you, too, obviously you both want to play professionally, or in your case, Palmire, go back to playing professionally once your time at Rhode Island's done. But besides that, what goals do you have for yourselves? Obviously, you want to win the A-10. You want to go to March Madness. But what do you want to get out of this season in your time at Rhode Island? You go first.
I would say like just like keep growing as a person and a player, like both at the same time, and just like not just like live here and just like be like kind of like recognized as a good player, but like also like as a good person, like who is able like to like exchange with people, like be able like to interact with people. And because I definitely like think like we are not just basketball player, like we much more than a basketball player. Like it's not something we're gonna do our whole life. So like just be able like to grow as a woman.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can say better. That's true. Yeah, definitely. Like having a degree, a championship title, and then just all the memories I will keep and all the people I met. So
that would be pretty fun.
Yeah,
no question about it. Well, we're gonna wrap up this part of the show on Ines and Palmire. I want to leave the last word to you guys. Obviously, big game against George Mason coming up. So anything you're looking forward to there, and just any message you have for Rhody Nation, who came out in droves tonight. I don't think there's any empty space on the floor right now. This is a great crowd.
I would just say like thank you so much, guys, for supporting us all the time. Like win or loss, I know we had like a good streak right now. Like we're winning this year, but like I'm seeing face like even if like when we were losing, like you keep coming, you kept coming, and we just appreciate that and be able like to like see you, have a relationship with you, and we just thank you, and we're very grateful for like a great group of fans.
Yeah, like just like Ines said, we're very grateful for all the fans and all the faces we see at all the games and the support we receive, and just I hope we gonna keep making you proud, guys. That's it.
And I'm gonna miss you all.
Well, we're so happy to have you guys with this program and have seen, both of you grow as people and as basketball players. Two incredible people here for the Rhody women's basketball program. Ines and Palmire, thanks for joining the show tonight.
Thank you.
Good luck, of course, on Saturday against George Mason. That one tipping off at 3 down in Fairfax. Quick thank yous and apologies if I don't get to everyone because there's so many people here. Thanks to our group from Rhody Sports Properties here, Matt Swiss, Chris and James, the crew out in the back. Thank you guys for all you do. Thanks to our producer, Andrew Meehan, for getting us on air tonight. Thanks to the Media Relations Department at Rhody for being here. Michaela Benford here with Shane Donaldson, Stone Freeman. Grace Steensma is here as well. Interim AD, Brittany Miles is here. And thanks to everyone from Rhody Nation who made it out or is listening live on Rhody Sports Network tonight. Thanks to Coach Reiss as well for being on early in the show. Thanks again to Ines and Palmire. That'll do it for the Tammi Reiss Coaches Show presented by People's Credit Union live on the Rhody Sports Network from Learfield.
This has been the Tammi Reiss Show. Tonight's show has been brought to you by People's Credit Union, the official credit union of URI Women's Athletics. New England Laborers, Liuna, Feel the Care. Pizza Gourmet, Rhode Island's wood-grilled pizza crust, is a proud sponsor of URI Athletics. Haxton Liquors, where we buy the most so you pay the least. Newport Propane, Rhode Island's #1 choice for all your propane needs. Orthopedics Rhode Island, the official orthopedic and sports medicine needs. Orthopedics Rhode Island, the official orthopedic and sports medicine provider for URI Athletics. Dave's Fresh Marketplace, better food, better service. The